Recognize the member for Oshawa.
Thank you, Speaker. And my question is to the Premier. Friday night at midnight, the management at Murray McKinnon Foundation in Oshawa locked out its workers, locked them out of their jobs. I spent Saturday afternoon in the rain with workers who support vulnerable youth, work with custodial youth, some who have spent 30 years doing community reintegration work or support the education of vulnerable young people. Their work matters. This Premier is responsible for underfunding and undervaluing the work that they do every day. I met a worker who has worked in youth justice, supporting the young people's education needs for 38 years, and this is the first time she's been out on the street instead of doing her job. Fix this. Will the Premier fund our public service workers who are absolutely worth fighting for?
Minister of Children, Community and Social Services.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I thank my honourable colleague for the very important question. Madam Speaker, we thank and value the important work that's being done by every staff in every organization across this province, Madam Speaker. It's why we are supporting them, backing them by record, historic investments right across every sector that this ministry supports, Madam Speaker. Speaker, we have in one sector alone, the developmental services sector, Madam Speaker, we have increased our investments this year to nearly $4 billion, Madam Speaker. That is an increase of $1.6 billion to better support people who rely on these supports and services. Madam Speaker, our message is very clear. We value the work that you're doing. That's why we're providing these historic investments. We expect both parties to get back to the table, get a deal to better and continue serving those people, Madam Speaker.
After the member for Oshawa.
Thank you, Speaker. And many of us stood with the developmental services workers yesterday in Toronto, and they are collapsing under the burnout. Record investment is not paying the bills. And under Bill 124, this Ford government unconstitutionally stole workers' wages, and they've been forced to pay back. Many workers across Ontario, but they still haven't paid back community public service workers who keep our communities running.
I'll ask the member to withdraw.
I will withdraw. Workers in developmental services, child welfare, youth justice, children's treatment centres, community health care and agencies, and mental health and addictions deserve fair wages, safe workplaces, and our thanks, for goodness sakes. Will this Premier finally pony up the wages his government withheld so these valuable public service workers can get back to work?
Yes. Minister of Children, Community and Social Services.
Very much, Madam Speaker. And again, I thank the honourable colleague for the very important question, Madam Speaker. And I'll just say this, Madam Speaker, this is the difference. Here on this side, as a minister, as a government, we will not be pitting parties against one another. We want to bring everyone together. It's to benefit every single person that's getting the support. And I encourage the honourable colleague's support in this space, Madam Speaker. And of course, members said the investment doesn't matter. It does matter, Madam Speaker. We have increased investment in the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services more than $1 billion this year, Madam Speaker. Why? Because we want to make sure that nobody in this province is left behind, Madam Speaker. And as I said, we highly value the great work of every single person in every organization, in every corner of this province, Madam Speaker. That's why developmental services sector has seen an increase of $1.6 billion since we formed government, Madam Speaker. It's why they saw a $407 million of investment increase in this budget, $310 million